are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? How are we doing today? It's a beautiful morning over here in eastern Kentucky. Decided to hit the road, decided to make some money. Today, I asked the question, is every market really that different? The short answer, yes and no. Let's get up, let's get ready. Alright, let's get the obvious out of the way. Let's get the obvious right out of the way. I know this is going to start an argument, a debate. Yes, every market is different. In terms of business, in terms of population, in terms of amount of restaurants that are on these platforms, the whole 9 yards, yes. In the simplest sense, yes, every market is truly different. No, when it comes to everything else. What do I mean by that? Every market has more in common than it is different. We all have the same rules. Maintain a 4.2 star rating average on just about every platform. Spark's 3.8, I think. But they only count the last 50 deliveries you did. But everything else is 4.2 and above. Algorithm is the same everywhere you go. The algorithm is laid out exactly the same. You can't really notice, like Uber Eats is the cat's meow in Charleston, but in the Huntington area where I work, Huntington, Ashland, Uber Eats, there might be one offer go out an hour and you might get it and you might not. So, the Top Dasher is the same everywhere. Not everywhere has Top Dasher, but everywhere Top Dasher exists is the same. Now, when it comes to the quality of orders that you receive from these platforms, it gets a little bit deeper. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think it goes beyond every market being different. I think everybody's individual experience is going to be different, completely and entirely. So, use UDM for an example. I can use his playbook, page by page, watch all of his videos, take all the notes, and work the gig economy the way he does. And I probably will not come up with the same amount that he comes up with in his very market. If I went down to Florida and I worked his market using his methods, I still would not come up with the same change that he comes up with because I'm not UDM. You can see what I'm saying here? See what I'm saying? So, the reason I come to this conclusion is because there was a time that I would ask all my colleagues, how much are you making? If you don't mind me asking, it's none of my business. The most common answer for a 40-hour week was $600. I was clearing $1,000. So what made me different? How was I able, now this is being Premier Driver, a full-blown Premier Driver on Grubhub. What made me different? Well, in all honesty, I was there to make the business look as good as I could. I care a lot about Grubhub, and I wanted the business to succeed, even if it was at my own expense, so it would be there for me tomorrow. I would go above and beyond. When a restaurant said it would take an hour to cook the food because they're busy, I sat there and patiently waited. I didn't kick on Doordash or Uber Eats and go work on another platform until their food was ready. I sat there and patiently waited. When the customer punched in the wrong address and they lived 10 miles away from the destination that was in the app, I'd get on the phone with them, find out the correct address, go ahead and take it to them, 9 times out of 10, the final destination on those trips brought me out where there was a lot of really nice sit-down restaurants, so I won in the end. And I didn't say a word to Grubhub about it. I didn't say, hey, where's this extra money, because I drove 10 extra miles than I was supposed to. I relied on letting Grubhub make it up to me later. There's a whole bunch of things that I did that was beneficial to Grubhub, and Grubhub is that kind of company where they recognize when someone goes above and beyond for them. Now, a lot of things have changed now in my area. If the customer changed the address, it will not let you mark it as delivered. Once you get there, you have to call it in and give driver support, the correct address, and they usually add about $1 to your account. I don't know what changed. I liked it better when I could just mark it deliver myself and send the GPS coordinates to the sky. But hey, whatever. I guess enough drivers complaining to where Grubhub changed that. But yeah, I went above and beyond, and I earned just a little extra for it. I don't really know the reason for that, but that's when I started suspecting that every individual's experience on these platforms are going to be wildly different from the last. Wildly different. Why? Because these companies are in control of what orders you receive and what orders you do not receive. And I think every single company's algorithm has perks built into people that go above and beyond for them. So when I was a top dasher on Doordash, I was a top dasher for 4 months. I kept my acceptance rate at 100%. That was before the shop and deliver stuff come into play. I'm not a big fan of that. But I kept my acceptance rate at 100%, my completion rate 98%, and I had to fight like hell to keep my star rating above 4.7, clearing out that many orders, because everybody I was delivering to was giving me 1 star because their food was 2 hours late. That's the name of the game. Even back then, I was earning $25 an hour on average. I would get like 8 $2 offers back to back. But by the end of the day, when some fat ones come through, it was worth $50-$60, I'd get them. So, you roll the dice on that. Anymore on DoorDash, I don't do 100%. There's some places I'd rather just leave alone. And there's some jobs I'd rather not do. And running 5 apps on my phone, I have the freedom and flexibility to do that. But I tip my hat off to everybody that keeps a 100% acceptance. So, but yeah, I think each individual's experience is going to be wildly different than the next. So if you get on Grubhub, for example, and you're just a plain Jane Premier driver, customer punches in the wrong address, you call into driver care, they're going to tell you you're not obligated to take it to the correct address. I always took that as, but it would be nice if you would. And you take it to the wrong address and you drop it off just because you could. That's going to cost Grubhub money in the end, and the algorithm is not going to fall in your favor. That gets counted. Trust me, that does get counted. How much do you actually make Grubhub? Are you making Grubhub a profit? Are you a profitable driver for Grubhub? I know cherry pickers is going to be watching this going like, dude, you're nuts. I've had terrible jobs in the past, and I'm grateful for this one. And that's all there is to it. I just simply appreciate this job. It's easy on my back, etc., etc. So, that's the question you got to ask yourself. How profitable am I? How useful am I to these companies? And that will make all the difference in the world regarding what kind of orders you receive from these companies. But furthermore, you know, DoorDash just booted in Grayson, and from what I understand, everybody that I know that works in Grayson and runs DoorDash, it's a small market, 3,000 to 5,000 population. They might be breaking $100 a day, and that's because DoorDash goes into $5 peak pay. So take that for what you will. I go on to Ashland, Kentucky. There's a population of roughly 50,000, and there's a substantial more business than that than in Grayson. So I'm just going to stay in Ashland. But yeah, yes and no. Yes, every market is different regarding restaurants. Whether you only have DoorDash, you only have one out of the big three. No, it's not that different in terms of the rules. And yes, it is wildly different based on your level of professionalism. So that's my answer. There's 2 yeses, 1 no. That's kind of a complicated one. Like I said, I take everything literal. I just wanted to touch on that. Enough Bible jargon for today. Peace.